Wow, who gets that introduction? So I've been using the power of why to study people for as long as I can remember. And for those of you who slept through physics, don't worry, it's not really about physics. It's more about a question, why? And what I wanted to know most was, why do people do what they do? Why do you take two people who have the same education, the same background, one person struggles, the other one thrives? How does that happen? Why do they do that? Because I figured if I could answer that question, then it would help my life, and I could do what I wanted to do, which was help other people achieve their goals and their dreams. So that's what I've been studying. I started reading books. I read lots of books. And I attended seminars, and I found people who were leaders in society and thinkers, and they were amazing. Every single book out there that I read was packed full of amazing things. The problem was I had trouble relating to them because they were all these great leaders and these great thinkers, and they talked about these icons in sports, and I just wasn't. I'm just an ordinary guy. I'm a dad. I'm a husband. What am I? So how was I going to do something with that? That just didn't make sense to me. So then, because I wanted to just do everyday life stuff. How do I do big goals? Great, but how do you do life-to-life stuff? So I needed a litmus test. If I was going to create something that I could help people with, it had to be true to me. And for me, that meant it had to make sense, and it had to be easy to explain, because I'm a simple guy. So what happened in 2007, 2008, I met this wonderful woman, you might have heard about her, Daphne Michelson, who traveled all over the country meeting amazing people who were building community and just amazing ordinary people moving America forward. But the interesting thing was they were ordinary people. They weren't these big iconic people. They were people from recently homeless to multimillionaire and 14 to 94. And I wanted to know why. Why them and why not somebody else? And so I kept asking that question. So I thought, great, I'll take all the knowledge that I have and I'll create what I call the DNA of success. I'll put it all together so I can teach people exactly what's going on and they'll know what to do. And I got way out of control because you start writing this stuff down and I realized that could take years, and it's taken me years to study it, so that doesn't help because everybody's busy now. We're all busy. We don't have time for this stuff. And then my oldest son came up with the answer. And this is not exactly what he showed me. It's my own reproduction of it. But he showed me that things aren't always as complicated as we make them out to be. Now, of course, this probably also explained why his grades suffered that year. But the point was, the answer I was looking for was right in front of me. And so the questions that I was asking of how and why people do what they do, the answer to that question was really just the questions themselves. Let me go back to the DNA for a second. The outcome that you want, whatever it is, your goal, the outcome that you're trying to achieve, that gets achieved by the actions that you take. Because you're either working further away from your goals, or you're getting closer to them by the things that you do. So the question I had then, okay, if my actions determine my outcome, what determines my actions? And it's the focus of what you're thinking about. It's the thoughts. What you think about consistently determines your actions, which determines your outcome. All right, great. So if that's the key, then how do I deal with that thought process in my head? What really we're talking about is a conversation in your head, and that's determined by your questions. Because the questions you ask yourself determine the conversation in your head, and on it goes. And here was the best part. I don't have to teach you this because you're already doing it. Every day, from the time you get up in the morning till the time you go to bed at night, you are asking questions. Should I get up or should I hit snooze? Should I brush my teeth or take a shower? What am I going to have for breakfast? How am I going to get to work? Should I turn left, turn right, go forward? And on it goes all day long. The problem is we don't think about it. It's autopilot, right? The questions come in, we answer them, we move on. So if we're going to control the thoughts in our head, to control the actions and determine the outcomes, we had to come up with a different way of doing questions. If you look in Webster, you'll find that motivate comes from the word motive, or modus from Latin, meaning to move. And it's something, a desire or a need that causes a person to take action. Aha, that action thing again, because once we take actions, they'll determine our outcome. So motivating questions, not just any question, but asking yourself motivating questions to get you towards the goal that you want to go is the key. And for me, that meant motivestions. Let me explain it real quick. I was having a really tough day once. I was coming home, and I was hitting every stoplight. I mean, I was hitting stoplights on other people's roads. That's how bad it was. And I would sit there for 4 or 5 minutes, and everybody else was moving. I'm sitting there going, why me? Why can't I go forward? And I get home, and I'm so angry. I'm so frustrated. I'm just venting, and my wife is so wonderful. She just sits there and listens to me. And when I get done, she says, honey, maybe you're asking the wrong questions. Maybe those stoplights aren't there to frustrate you, but on your journey home, while you're going home and trying to struggle with all the traffic and all the people there, maybe the stoplight is there to just let you relax, take a breath, enjoy the journey, and recharge. Talk about changing your perspective. Now, I'm like a typical guy in some ways. I hate when she's right, which is most of the time. But it's really bad when she's right and she's using the stuff that I teach against me. I got to stop talking to you, huh? That's just not right. But she was right. Changing my perspective. Because see, this isn't just about business. It's about life. If you change the way you think and you focus on different things, your actions will change and so will your outcomes. And it doesn't matter whether it's a big business thing or changing careers, changing jobs, losing weight, getting a new set of clothes, whatever it is, change the questions you ask yourself and it will change the thought process, which will then change your actions and it will change your outcome. What happens when you're stuck, though? What happens when you're starting a business, it's not going well, or you want to start a business, but you don't know what to do? Or what I hated when I was looking at those books and reading stuff and talking to people was they would say, find your passion, follow your passion, and you will be successful. And I wanted to scream because I had no idea what my passion was. How am I supposed to follow something I don't even know what it is? But I was asking the wrong questions. I should have been asking, what are the things that get me excited? What are the things that I truly love to do? And that would lead me to find my passion. So it's about asking questions. It's about asking questions the right way. Again, it's not a matter that you're going to ask the questions. You do that already. The key is, are you controlling the questions, or are they controlling you? Is it really that simple and easy? And the answer is yes and no. Simple, yes. It really is that simple. It had to be true to me. I had to find something that was going to make sense and easy to explain, and it is that simple. But it's not that easy to do. It's like any muscle. When you start to use the muscle, it's hard, and you got to build up to it, all right? So how do you do that? How do you start when your brain, because those questions are going to come in. I do it in a couple ways. You have to create a new habit. What I do is I have lists. I have lists in the morning and lists in the evening. And the questions that I ask before I get out of bed are something like this. What am I going to be, what's exciting that's going on today in my life? What am I happy about in my life right now? Who am I going to see today that I really haven't seen in a while, and I'm looking forward to seeing them? See, this changes the conversation in your head, and it becomes one of empowerment and motivation versus, I didn't get this done, I didn't get that done, I've got to do this, I've got to get that, how am I going to do this, how am I going to do that? And in the evening, I ask different questions. And by the way, a really good question in the morning that I like to ask is, what makes me happy and what makes me smile? Or what makes me laugh? Ask that before you get out of bed. In the evening, ask different questions. Something that you can recount that day. What did I get accomplished today? Because when you go to bed at night, your mind's still going to be working on what you're thinking about, and you want to be thinking about good things. We do something at home around the dinner table, but you could do this at night too. And we call it best feelings of the day. And everyone around the dinner table has to do this. You have to answer 4 questions. What was your best feeling today? What was the challenge that you overcame today? What are you grateful for? And what are you looking forward to? Now ask those 4 questions before you go to sleep and see how your mind changes. So it's about asking different questions. Now, I know what you're thinking. That's all great and well and good, Michael, because when life is great, you can do that kind of stuff. But what when life is bad? What happens when, for those of you that are Princess Bride fans, you're in that pit of despair because something bad has happened, right? I mean, it could be something as simple as just bad days or kids are fighting or whatever. It could be really bad, like you lost a loved one or, God forbid, you lost everything, got fired or whatever. Is it really that simple to just go, well, what am I happy about today? And what's exciting about this stuff that's happening to me? No. Your brain's smarter than that. It's going to tell you to go take a flying leap. So what do you do? Well, my belief is that when you're in that pit, sometimes you need to process and you need to grieve if you've lost someone. You need time, and it's okay to have that time and be down and be angry or frustrated. But at some point, you will want to get out of the pit, and you'll be stuck because you won't know what to do. And you can't just ask the happy question. That isn't going to work. So you got to trick your brain. Now, for those of you who were not paying attention earlier to physics, we have another one for you. This is what I call the power of if. You ask a different question. Now, you kind of got to say, okay, brain, I know you're not happy. I know you're frustrated. I know you're angry. And that's okay. But what if you wanted to be happy right now? What would you think about? If you wanted to be excited about something, what would it be? If you wanted to think about the people that you care about and the people that care about you in your life, who would they be? Because you see, your brain will answer the question anyway. It'll answer whatever question you ask it. It's a computer. It's what it does. Trust me, I've been in computers for a long time. So ask a different question, and you will start to get out of that pit of despair. It may take a while, but eventually you'll get out of there. Because when you ask a different question, your brain starts to process things differently. You change the conversation in your head. It changes the actions that you take. And eventually, you climb out. I'm going to leave you with this. It's simple. It's not necessarily easy. And I know it doesn't seem like it could do a whole lot. But if it did, What if I'm right? What if it really is that simple about changing the questions that you ask yourself every day, or at least controlling the questions you ask yourself every day? What if it really is that simple? What if, and forgive me, I'm going to go back to elementary school for a little bit here. I dare you to make morning and evening questions. I double dog dare you to do it for 4 weeks, 28 days. Every morning before you get out of bed, ask yourself the questions and answer them. And every morning before, or every evening before you go to bed, ask yourself the other set of questions. And you can flip them up, change them up every week or so, whatever you want to do. But ask yourself the questions for 4 weeks and see how it changes the way you think and see how it changes the actions that you take. Watch the change in your life. Because I guarantee you it's going to change your life. It'll change the way you behave, the way you think about other people, and it will change your actions. So what if I'm right and you do it for 4 weeks? What if, before you leave tonight, you write down a question? And that question is, what's my noble purpose? What is my passion? What is the one thing that you were put here to do? And maybe you're doing it, maybe you've just thought about it, maybe you've never thought about it, but what is the one thing that you know deep down inside? It's like this fire that burns in you when you see it on TV or you watch something on the internet, you see a magazine article about it, and it just goes, God, I wish I could do that. I wish I had the time or the money or the resource or whatever. What is that one thing that you feel right here that it's your noble purpose to be on the planet? What if you wrote down that question and you did this for 28 weeks, 28 days. You asked the questions in the morning and the evening. And at the end of the 28 days, you pulled out that piece of paper. You looked at the question and you wrote the answer. What if I'm right that it will change your life? What if I'm right that because of that, you will start to do something that will change other people's lives? What if everyone who's listening to me does this for 28 days? They start to affect their own life. They affect everyone's life that they touch. And together, we change the world. What if I'm right? Write down the question, do it for 28 days, and then answer it. I dare you. Thank you.